Hi everybody, Simon here again from Cooper Strip Club, and today I'll be showing you how to strip lacquer off a mahogany table. 30-odd-year-old table. It's solid sapelli mahogany, weighs a ton, sat in the sun at one end of the table in the same place for pretty much all that time. Now our stripper, this red one's our stripper. Normal strippers are very thick. We make our stripper thin so that it absorbs rapidly, and you can see when I went down the first pass that it just pretty much dove straight in. And our stripper is virtually pH neutral, and we make it that way because we want to, we don't want to damage the wood, we don't want to bleach it. Acids and alkali based strippers, they do more damage than anything. Our whole system is about no sanding, and the no sanding game is all based on the fact that the person that made this table sanded it, and the sanding is still there. So we want to reuse it. So I'm just going to, you see I've got this shield just to catch out spray. Now 2 or 3 light coats of stripper does not use a lot of product. This table totally, which is a big table, will use somewhere between 1 and 2 litres for the whole job. So it's not going to use a lot of product. Our steel will come in these big rolls, and you can just cut it off to whatever length you want. So normally stripping a turned leg is pretty much nightmare stuff, but this is easy as. I want to show you how we do the edge. So the edge, we just grab a big chunk of wool. It's not easy to put a blade on there and that, so we just do this. We just literally scrub. I'm using a wider spatula today, and I always use a bit of an angle, and we just in this technique, you would use things like hollow core ply doors, where you've got big wide surfaces with the varnish. You could use it on wardrobes, chest of drawers, all those sort of big wide surfaces. The guide says remove the softened finish, and it's really just you choosing what's the most appropriate way. Part 2, to strip what's in the surface. So when this was made, it was sanded, and the very first coat of lacquer that went on soaked into the wood. And then all the other layers of lacquer that went on after that, they sort of laid on top. So that, when I was spatularing, however that's pronounced, before, that's taken off all the stuff that's on the surface. Now I'm taking off what's in the wood. Now again, a stripper that's highly acid or alkali, this is when the wood gets destroyed. It will be bleached and all sorts of wonderful things. And that usually results in many hours of sanding. So I'll leave that now for a couple of minutes, and I'll go on to the leg again. So it's a sort of bit of a repeat, the leg bit. So this coat of stripper will have gone into the grain. Stripper on, it says leave it a couple of minutes, but I've left it longer. Doesn't matter, the stripper isn't going to hurt it. And we just wet scrub with the wool, and all the varnish, all the lacquer that's deep in the grain is all coming to the surface. Grab some rag. Do tend to take shears out in a rag factory. Rags do a good job. try and get them lint free. We use like a boiled mutton cloth. It can be old nappies, t-shirts, all that sort of stuff. So what I'm doing here is just wiping off. I'm going to be coming up to the flushing stage here in a second, but if I've got a nice wet layer of mushy stripper there, then wipe it off first, because that will reduce the amount of actual flusher that you'll use. And then we move on to the flusher. And the flusher is part 3. This is a paraffin-based rinse, and its job is not to neutralise, but to rinse the surface clean. Rinse it clean of residues of stripper, of lacquer, stain, anything that's soft we want to get off the wood so that we don't have to sand it off. If you get the residues out of the grain, you then aren't going to be having the new finish get all destroyed. So grab some rag. Now, the colour it is right now, when it's wet, is the colour it would be if you put a new clear finish on. Not a nuclear finish, a new clear finish. And that tells you, like when you look at that, you go, okay, I'm happy with that colour, I don't want it any darker, so you can choose whatever finish you want. If you want a darker finish, then you'd have to add stain to it, but that's sort of naturally aspirated, that's what the wood wants to be. Just show you these. So you've seen this before in other videos, but this is this nylon-y type pad, and if you see the sparkle in there, that's the grit that's been put into it. So as I said before, this top is sanded by the person that made it, and by the look of it, they did a really good sanding job. And this flusher again, the paraffin-based rinse, and we want the little needles of the grit to get into the sandpaper marks that are left in the wood. Any sanding leaves little scratches that's supposed to be there. So with the flusher, you're spraying and you're scrubbing at the same time. You're not putting it on like the stripper and leaving it. Now we use a paraffin-based rinse, this flusher, because we want to have more scrubbing time. If you use meths or thinners, they dry way too fast, and in the case of like thinners, it just stinks. This is a virtually no odour product. As we said before on the leg, the wet look is the finish look. So while you do this, you're watching all the time for any blemishes that you might discover and dealing with them accordingly. So on the guide it says spray, scrub, spray, wipe. And as I'm wiping, you see I'll be turning the rag around onto clean surfaces to it picks up all the goo and gets all that residue onto the rag rather than soaking deep into the grain where it could cause upsets for a new finish. So this rinsing phase this flushing phase is very important. It is the no sanding part of the game. In about half an hour, this will have dried. The rinse would have evaporated off, and it will come out quite a pale colour. And it's really important that you don't look at a blemish and suddenly think, oh, I better do a bit of sanding just in case. What you'll do is cause a problem. You'll need then to sand the whole piece. If it looks good wet, then that's to be trusted. So we don't snap the legs off, so grab under there and onto some. Now, what have we got here? S.A. Cooper. I made this table a very long time ago when I was late teens, I think. I made it for my parents, and I made it down the hallway of the old villa that we used to live in. Now when we stripped this the other day, I was expecting the flusher to evaporate inside an hour or two, but it actually took the best part of, actually the next morning it was just dry. And that told me that the surface was very, very absorbent. If it was a timber like oak, it would have dried off very, very quickly. And so because it was so absorbent, I decided that it needed to be toughened up a little bit with the finish. And this is what semi-sealer is for. Now, semi-sealer is based on tung oil. And tung oil, tung is spelled T-U-N-G. What we're doing here is we're partially sealing the timber, which is why we call it semi-sealer. What we want to do is just to add a little bit of solid, a few solids to the actual top. So this is got a really nice smell. It smells like eucalyptus. So we have the oil applied. Now we don't want it to look all glossy like this, unless you want it glossy like this, but this is pretty amazing, this top. And you can see where it's absorbing and all that, which is what we want. Any finish based on tung oil is basically a rubbing oil. So you get another donated towel, and somewhere 5 to 10 minutes, we're actually going to take the surplus off. And this is what we do. So we basically, something of reasonable size because you want the absorbency, and you are going to take off some of what you put on. So this is going to be rubbing oil into the grain, which is good. So we're going to take surplus off. This top has now been semi-sealed, and it now needs 2 days to cure. The oil is going to dry, and the top is smooth. And now if a little bit of dust lands on the top, it doesn't matter, it's not going to stick. So this is our moisturiser. And there's a picture of me and our famous diamond door and the moisturiser. Now this is a blend of gum, oil and wax, and it's all synthetic. And we looked at making one out of bugs and berries, but it makes great food for things. So we put some in the bowl. Moisturiser is non-toxic, so you can use it on chopping blocks, on bowls, on anything where food might come in contact. Not particularly tasty, but it is non-toxic. Now, check out this grain. This table is going to drink it up. We want to just let the wood absorb what it wants. I like calling it a living finish. It's like skin care for wood. You can put the moisturiser on in any weather. It doesn't matter about dust. It doesn't matter about humidity. I mean, I could literally pour a bucket of dust over this and it's not going to upset the finish in the slightest. And now George is going along with the cloth to, he's now removing the surface. So I'll just slip behind you, George. On the legs, we get ourselves a long piece of cloth, and we just simply are going to be doing a ropey thing. The level of glow or shine or whatever you're going to get is all about the sanding. If you have a very coarse, sometimes people think a good quality sand is 120 grit, which in my world is just getting started. The finer the sand, the more reflection you get. The lights hit and reflect. The coarser the sand, the less reflection you get. because I actually made the table, it was extremely well sanded. The semi-sealer has helped with the glow, the moisturiser's on, and George has just spuffed it off. So technically, we're done. That is a moisturised surface. And you just feel this ground just like silk, and everybody likes silk. Absolutely gorgeous. So this table is now finished. You can now put it into use. Effectively, this is water repellent. The water, if you drop water on it, it beads off. If you've had a party and for some reason there's a watermark got onto it, what you do, get a rag, get some water, and you just buff the mark. 9 times out of 10, mark's gone. And it's the what's happened is the wood fibre in that part has swollen and left the mark. So water actually removes a watermark. Do not use furniture polishes on this. Don't go off and buy some commercial furniture polish. It's likely to have silicone in it that will really hurt the finish. It'll go into the wood and then you will definitely get heat marks. Leave it alone. All you do with this finish is wash it. So basically lukewarm water out of the tap, maybe a drip or two of detergent, and just wash it. Just give it a wipe over like you're washing, like you're cleaning the bench. Over time, you're going to look at the table and it's going to one day look a little lackluster. So all you do, and you can do this as often as you like, but if it's looking a little bit sad because you're like really hammering it, then all you do is brush on some more moisturiser straight over the old. It doesn't matter how often you've done it, there's no build up because the moisturiser never dries. Remember, it's this living finish. You would leave that on overnight and buff it off the next day. Once you put it on, if there was a watermark or some sort of mark there, you can give it a quick scrub with the grip pad, but generally they'll just disappear on the spot. This will never need to be stripped again. Thanks for watching. We'll see you then. Cheers.